much, and good afternoon, everyone, and best greetings from Finland. I'm happy to introduce a bit what Abilis Foundation is and does, but also to highlight some critical point also that we have to understand when talking about persons with disabilities and how important it is really to also to support their own organizations. And of course, now starting with this illustration, income generation is one of the key points where people with disabilities lack possibilities to earn money and really to generate income. So Abilis is interested in giving those opportunities that income generation, employment, and many more activities are possible. In short, Abilis Foundation is a Finnish NGO, so owned by Finnish people and operating here in Finland through the headquarters. But Abilis is working globally and focusing on the poorest countries of this globe. And Abilis promotes equal rights and opportunities of persons with disabilities. So we are really focusing on persons with disabilities and disability rights. And we have been working since 1998 on project management. So the main work of Abilis, or main activity and modality, is funding projects. And all Abilis funded projects must be initiated and implemented by persons with disabilities and definitely living in developing countries. So we are not funding any projects here in Finland or in Europe. The main aim in all these projects is an active involvement of persons with disabilities. So too often persons with disabilities are excluded, segregated, and also left behind. So now Abilis involves persons with disabilities throughout our operations, starting from the decision making and so forth. And we follow human rights-based approach, and also we are very keen to know results. So impact is also the word already introduced earlier on. We have actually funded more than 5,500 individual projects in 82 countries. So we have quite a massive experience as a grant maker. Some principles of our work. Abilis provides financial and technical support. And one of the key elements is that while we provide financial support and also when we advise and supervise disability organizations, they can gain new skills and build their capacity. And this is something different comparing to what has been said earlier on. Abilis can also fund projects by organizations that are newly established, or they may have no earlier experience in projects and project funding. So we want to give that opportunity that also new organizations and even very small groups can implement project and learn new skills. We only fund organizations and their projects that include persons with disabilities in their leaderships. Too often persons with disabilities are led by other people, and that's why we have this very unique priority. And during the entire project cycle, so in planning, in implementation, in reporting, evaluation, everywhere throughout the project, persons with disabilities play a very key role. Projects are small in terms of euros. So the average is actually a bit less than 10,000 euros, but they vary between 1,000 and 20,000 euros annually. Sometimes exceptions are also occurring. Some thematic focuses due to the disability sector. We want to recognize the weaker status and position of girls and women with disabilities. So multiple discrimination is faced by them. So we want to support them and their living conditions. So sex or gender and disability, that's the combination creating this multiple discrimination. We also want to provide opportunities for persons with disabilities to either get some vocational training or somehow to secure their sustainable livelihood, not only employment, but really related facilities as well. This capacity building of organizations that remains very accurate. As I said, very often disability organizations have less experience than other NGOs, but also there are a lot of smaller groups in grassroots level, in remote areas or in smaller towns in your countries, and they have not found any donor agency. So Abilis is for them. And we also want to recognize how important it is to empower and really support persons with disabilities, so group members. And we also want to support people with disabilities to advocate, to talk about and raise awareness on disability rights, and really to collaborate with political decision makers and other stakeholders. The project application process is a very simple one, but there are critical points. Number one, and with this small illustration, I want to demonstrate that it has to be the local organization, the OPD, that prepares the application. So Abilis is a grant maker and a donor. But we also want to emphasize that the group should work in a participatory way. We do not like these one-man shows or other types. So really democratic way of making decisions, planning, and preparing all the required attachments as well. When the application has been submitted to Abilis, so throughout the year, so we have an open call for proposals, we analyze the plan and also the budget. And what we want to really understand is the local context. And that's why Abilis has some local offices in certain countries, so our focus countries, and they know very much all the funding criteria and also the procedures, practices, which are standardized. So realistic project plan is very important. But all funding decisions are made here in Finland at the headquarters, so where Abilis board and myself have the decision-making power. And then after that, the implementation of a project is really the responsibility of the grantee group. And we pay the grants in installments, and we require reporting in between the funding. And when I look at the way how Abilis works, and really with very grassroots level groups, but also what we can learn, it's important to study the themes and the priorities of the call, as earlier also you have learned, and also to make a realistic plan and budget, not too big amounts, but really realistic plan. And then introduce the elements and the objectives of your project. So these questions like who wants to do what, where, why, how, and when, so that the donor can really understand what you want to do, and then with which resources, like what do you really need. Try to avoid long descriptions and also irrelevant content, and require all attachment and send it on time. So if you want to learn more about Abilis Foundation or our funding criteria, you can find them and abilis.fi, and then you can find the English version or other languages there. Thank you so much.